Welcome back to another edition of the Coach's Corner. Today we'll be reviewing the Cardinals versus Giants. And just initially, first thing that came to mind is kind of flipping, who controls their own destiny. Where you could argue that the Giants, they were in a very close race with the Washington football team, essentially had control of their own destiny. Where the Cardinals needed help from the game we talked about prior, the Vikings Buccaneers game. So they got their help, but also they took care of business against the Giants. And I'll ask you, since you're the quarterback guy, do you think that the Giants are better off with Colt McCoy as their starting quarterback over Daniel Jones, or do you think it's just Daniel Jones wasn't healthy and they tried forcing him on the field?
I definitely think it was Daniel Jones wasn't healthy. I think he probably practiced a little bit because the thing that was concerning is, so I don't know the severity of the hamstring injury, but Daniel Jones is the guy.
They're hard to predict because they're so nagging. Like, you could make all this progress and you're like, I'm feeling good, and then you go too hard one day and you set yourself back.
Right. I know he was real limited. I know they were really optimistic. My thing is, for a guy like Daniel Jones that relies on athleticism, it's not that Daniel Jones isn't a pocket passer. I think he's a great pocket passer. I think his quick game is his strongest suit. Something that has been confusing is, early on we saw their offensive coordinator Jason Garrett really go away from the quick game, and I think that's where you saw the struggles. But a great way they could protect Daniel Jones and work the quick game is moving the pocket on some sprint outs and some plays like that. So when you've got a hurt hamstring and you can't move, you can't plant and throw and get that push off your leg, you're not playing. You're more of a hurting the team than you are benefiting them. So I definitely think, I know this was a big game for them, and they thought, okay, if Daniel can go, Daniel needs to go, because there's a reason he's the starter over Colt McCoy. But Colt McCoy wasn't going to lose you the game. He wasn't necessarily going to go out and win the game, but he wasn't going to outright lose you the game. He was going to keep you competitive. And I think that's the best thing you could ask for. Maybe the Cardinals give you a gift, like a couple turnovers, maybe a turnover on downs or a fumble in there. You take care of the game that way, as opposed to coming out, forcing the issue. Now you get blown out in what was never really a competitive game to begin with. Daniel Jones, 11 of 21 for 127 yards. That's abysmal quarterback play. And there's really nothing else you could say about it. I really do feel bad for Daniel Jones, because people are going to circle this game at the end of the season with no context.
And kind of looking at, you're looking at, individual stats, which I like to do, but here I'm looking at the team stats. I mean, Cardinals 390 yards of total offense to the Giants 159. I mean, you're talking, it's over 240 yards difference just in total offense. Passing yards 231 for the Cardinals, 81 for the Giants. 159 yards on the ground for the Cardinals, 78 yards on the ground for the Giants. But of those 78, they were able to run the ball very efficiently, but they just got behind so early in the game that they had to go away from it. Gallman, was able to run I think it was like 5.7 yards a carry, and third down efficiency, 3 of 12 for the Giants to 7 of 18 for the Cardinals. The Cardinals ran 30 more plays. But here's the big one, the big ones. The Giants only forced 1 sack, where the Cardinals forced 8 sacks. And then also fumbles and turnovers, 0 interceptions for each team, 0 fumbles for the Cardinals, 3 fumbles for the Giants. So, and then lastly, time of possession, 37 minutes and 53 seconds for the Cardinals to 22 minutes and 7 seconds for the Giants. So what's all this getting to? One, you got behind so early that you couldn't run the football, putting more pressure on – it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. You're putting more pressure on your quarterback. The same quarterback that gets sacked 8 times, you're not able to move the ball. You're not efficient on third down, and you lose 3 fumbles. I mean, give me a team that's been able to come back from that and win games that aren't the Patriots in the Super Bowl against the Falcons.
Yeah, excellent points there. And, you look at the Cardinals breakdown, you couldn't stop DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, it's not that they didn't contain Kenyon Drake. I mean, you look at the rushing numbers.
But if you add Chase Edmonds into that, it's just as good as having one 100-yard rusher.
Right. And, you look at Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds. They're held under 5 yards a carry. Kenyon Drake in particular under 4.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Edmonds is a little harder because 7 for 32. He had a big run in there.
Yeah.
But you hold Kyler Murray under 50 yards rushing on 13 attempts. That's impressive for a guy that's averaging your leading rusher. It's not that they didn't do a good job on the ground, but you look at you look at this and you take away this. We don't have a number one lockdown guy that could take away another team's star wide receiver, because 9 for 136 for Hopkins is, that's not good enough. You need to address the cornerback position, which I think they will. And then you look at, like you said, on the other side of the ball, part of the reason that you've seen the Giants winning games and rattle off wins is they're using – you saw Jason Garrett kind of move the pocket a little bit and run the ball effectively. Let's get Jones on the move on some play action, some boot stuff, some boot action. With a bad hamstring, you can't do that. You're straight dropping back. You're straight trying to work quick game, and you're limited. Okay, well, if you're limited and the defense knows that, they're going to pin their ears back and come back. Well, guess what? Now your athletic quarterback can't even get outside the pocket and escape. So I just, I feel for Daniel Jones, because he's a competitive guy. He's a fiery guy. He wants to win just as bad as anybody. And he's probably felt like, man, I don't got it going today because he's on one leg.
I'll tell you this much. I think the Giants just gave Hassan Reddick a huge payday. I'm not just talking about, maybe a contract extension. I don't know what the details on his contracts are for bonuses, like how many sacks, but when you get 5 sacks in one game, whatever that goal is in the contract, he's a lot closer, or maybe surpassed it because of this game. So I think that Hassan Reddick kind of owes the New York Giants offensive line a steak dinner. But I mean, they just weren't able to protect. Like I said, it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. They weren't able to protect them. I mean, if I were to tell you, here's how a lot of people in the media are probably going to write it. 11 for 21 is essentially 50%. It's as good as 50% passing. Where Colt McCoy completed 2/3 of his passes, but in reality it was 2 completions, 3 attempts. So if you're just looking at completion percentage, yeah, of course Colt McCoy is the better quarterback after this game, but it doesn't tell the story of the entire game. And I feel like that's where a lot of people get kind of these quarterback situations wrong, is they look completely just at stats, and they don't look at stats and matching how they play. For example, Hassan Reddick is a great example. I don't know how many sacks he has on the season, but let's say that now all of it. Let's say, for example, he has 9 sacks now. That's a pretty good year by Hassan Reddick. 5 of those sacks came in one game. It's still impressive. It's a hard feat. Not many players have been able to get that many sacks in one game, but it's just interesting.
No, excellent points, Coach.
All right. If you think we got anything wrong, don't be afraid to let us know in the comments. If you have a question, drop it in the comments section. We'll answer it next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notification bells, and check out other great content from the East West Football Network. Thank you.